All right, so get ready because we're about to jump into a deep dive that might raise a few eyebrows.
Oh, really? I'm intrigued.
Well, someone sent us this article called Older Men Will Get a Younger Woman's Attention by Doing This, Age Gaps. And I got to admit, even I was like, whoa, what is this all about?
Yeah, the title definitely sounds a little clickbaity.
It does, right. But you know they say don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. Let's dive in and see what they're actually getting at.
Okay, so the article seems to be all about what attracts younger women to older men. And they focus on things like maturity and communication and confidence and emotional intelligence.
It sounds like they're suggesting that these qualities are more common in older men.
Well, that's kind of the vibe I got too. But it's not just about age itself, right? Like it's more about what often comes along with having more life experience.
Right. It's about those qualities that we associate with maturity, like emotional stability, decisiveness, a strong sense of self.
Exactly. Like you've been around the block a few times, you have a better handle on who you are and what you want.
And the article seems to suggest that those qualities can be pretty attractive to someone who's maybe earlier in their own journey.
Yeah, I could see that, especially if you're still figuring things out yourself. Having a partner who's more established could feel really reassuring.
Like they've already navigated some of those life challenges and they can offer a different perspective.
Exactly. And maybe even a little bit of guidance. Not in a controlling way, but just someone who's been there and done that.
The article actually touches on that. It suggests that younger women are often seeking stability in a partner, someone who has a clear direction in life and isn't afraid to make decisions.
Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
We all crave stability in relationships, right? It's about feeling safe and supported. But the article also talks a lot about communication. Like they say, good communication is a cornerstone of maturity. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think clear and honest communication is essential in any relationship. But it's true that it takes time and experience to really hone those skills.
Right? It's not like we're all born knowing how to express our feelings and set boundaries and, all that good stuff.
And the article suggests that older men might have an advantage here simply because they've had more opportunities to learn and grow from their past relationships.
Yeah, they've probably made their fair share of communication mistakes along the way,
Yeah.
which, is how we all learn.
Exactly. It's about recognizing those patterns and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And that takes time and experience.
So it's not necessarily that every older man is a master communicator, but they might have a bit of a head start just from having been through more relationship ups and downs.
It's like anything else, the more you practice, the better you get.
And speaking of practice, the article also talks about how older men might approach dating differently. Like they put more effort into planning thoughtful dates, not just, grabbing a quick drink or whatever.
Yeah, they emphasize creating an emotional connection through those dates, like putting thought and consideration into choosing activities that the other person would genuinely enjoy.
It's about showing that you value their time and company, that you're willing to put in the effort to make it special.
The article even suggests things like planning a spontaneous weekend getaway or an activity based on her interests. It's about going beyond the casual and really trying to connect on a deeper level.
That's really interesting, and it kind of ties into the next quality they highlight, confidence.
Ah, yes, confidence. That elusive and often misunderstood quality.
Right, like everyone says confidence is attractive.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear your take on why it might be particularly appealing in this context.
Well, I think it goes back to that sense of security and stability we were talking about earlier. A confident partner exudes a sense of self-assurance. They know their worth, and they're not afraid to go after what they want.
And that can be incredibly magnetic, especially for someone who might still be figuring out their own path in life.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, hey, I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm not afraid to be myself. And that can be incredibly refreshing and attractive.
It's not about being arrogant or cocky, but rather having that quiet confidence that comes from knowing yourself and being comfortable in your own skin.
And that kind of confidence often comes with age and experience. It's about having weathered a few storms and come out stronger on the other side.
And knowing that you can handle whatever life throws your way, which can be really appealing to someone who might be seeking a bit of stability and reassurance in a partner.
And that sense of confidence can extend beyond just romantic relationships. It can impact how you approach your career, your friendships, your overall outlook on life.
It's like a ripple effect. That inner confidence can manifest in so many positive ways. But I'm already wondering, what about the flip side? What might attract older men to younger women?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely explore as we continue our deep dive.
Ooh, stay tuned, because I have a feeling things are about to get even more interesting. Okay, so welcome back to the deep dive. We've been digging into this article about what attracts younger women to older men. And we talked about all those qualities that the article highlights, like maturity and communication skills and confidence and emotional intelligence.
And how those qualities often develop with time and experience, which is why the article suggests they might be more common in older men.
Right. But now I kind of want to flip the script a little bit.
Oh, how so?
Well, we've been focusing on what younger women might find attractive in older men. But what about the other way around? What about what older men might see in younger women?
That's a great point. It's important to remember that attraction works both ways.
Exactly. Relationships are a two-way street. So what comes to mind when you think about the appeal of a younger partner from an older man's perspective?
Well, for one, a youthful perspective can be incredibly invigorating. Younger people often bring a fresh outlook on life, a sense of adventure, and a willingness to embrace new experiences.
Oh, I totally get that. It's that kind of contagious energy and optimism. Like, they haven't been jaded by life yet.
Exactly. They still see the world with a sense of wonder and possibility, which can be really refreshing for someone who's maybe been around the block a few times.
Yeah, like a reminder to not take things too seriously, to have fun and be spontaneous.
The article touches on that. It suggests that older men might be drawn to that youthful energy, that sense of excitement for life.
And I can see how that could create a really fun and dynamic relationship, where each partner brings something different to the table.
It's about finding that balance where both partners complement each other. One might bring wisdom and stability, while the other brings that youthful spark.
And let's be real here, physical attraction plays a role too, right?
Of course, physical attraction is a natural part of romantic relationships, and it's something that we can find in people of all ages.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that it goes beyond just physical appearance, right? Like, there has to be something deeper there, a real connection.
Absolutely. Genuine connection is about so much more than just superficial attraction. It's about shared values, intellectual stimulation, humor, emotional support.
All those things that make a relationship truly fulfilling and meaningful.
And those qualities can be found in people of all ages. It's not about reducing attraction to a simple age-based formula.
Right. It's about recognizing that we're all complex individuals with unique experiences and desires. And sometimes those things just click, regardless of age.
The article actually talks about how an older partner might offer a sense of stability and guidance, but I think it's also worth considering what a younger partner brings to the table.
Oh, totally. Like, how might their experiences contribute to the relationship's growth?
Well, they might bring a fresh perspective on societal trends or cultural shifts. They might challenge long-held assumptions, encourage their partner to embrace new ways of thinking, or introduce them to experiences they might not have otherwise encountered.
It's like they're keeping each other young at heart, always learning and growing together.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that wisdom doesn't always come with age, and that we can learn from each other regardless of how many years we've been on this planet.
So we're moving beyond just the age difference here.
Yeah.
And looking at the bigger picture of what makes a relationship thrive.
Right. We're talking about mutual respect, open communication, shared values, and a genuine desire to support each other's growth and happiness.
Which are all essential ingredients for any healthy relationship, whether there's an age gap or not.
Exactly. But I think it's also important to acknowledge that societal norms can sometimes influence how we view age gap relationships.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, we all grow up with certain ideas about what's normal or acceptable, and those ideas can sometimes create unconscious biases.
And it's important to examine those biases, to understand where they come from, and to challenge them when they limit our understanding of human connection.
Absolutely. So let's talk about those societal influences a little bit. What are some of the common perceptions or stereotypes surrounding age gap relationships?
Well, one common stereotype is that older men who date younger women are seeking to recapture their youth or assert their masculinity.
It's that whole trophy wife trope, like they're trying to prove something.
Right, and while that might be true in some cases, it's important to recognize that it's a harmful generalization that doesn't represent the complexity of real-life relationships.
And on the flip side, younger women who date older men are sometimes stereotyped as being gold diggers or looking for a father figure.
Which are equally harmful and reductive stereotypes. It's about recognizing that people enter into relationships for a wide range of reasons, and those reasons are often deeply personal and multifaceted.
It's not our place to judge or make assumptions. We should respect people's choices and recognize that every relationship is unique.
Absolutely. But even with all that said, I think it's fair to acknowledge that age gap relationships might come with their own set of challenges.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what kind of challenges?
Well, one potential obstacle is the difference in life stages. A couple with a significant age gap might be at different points in their careers, have different social circles, or even have different priorities when it comes to things like starting a family or settling down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like one partner might be ready to settle down and have kids, while the other is still focused on building their career or traveling the world.
And navigating those differences requires open communication compromise and a willingness to understand and respect each other's needs and desires.
It's about finding that middle ground where both partners feel heard and supported.
And recognizing that sometimes those differences might be too big to bridge.
I'm also curious about how societal perceptions might impact these couples. We talked about the stereotypes,
Yeah.
but do you think there's added pressure or scrutiny when there's a noticeable age difference?
I think it's fair to say that couples with age gaps might face more judgment or scrutiny from others, whether it's from family members, friends, or even strangers.
Yeah, it's like people feel entitled to comment on their relationship just because it doesn't fit into their preconceived notions of what's normal.
And that can be really challenging for the couple. It requires them to have a strong sense of self and a willingness to prioritize their connection over external opinions.
It's about choosing each other and trusting in their bond, even when the outside world might not understand.
And recognizing that ultimately the success of any relationship, regardless of age difference, depends on the strength of the connection, the shared values, and the commitment to working through challenges as a team.
I think that's a really important point to emphasize, that while age might be a factor in a relationship, it's certainly not the defining factor.
Exactly. The foundation of any healthy relationship lies in mutual respect, open communication, shared values, and a genuine desire to support each other's growth and happiness.
And those are qualities that can be found in relationships of all shapes and sizes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So while this article focused specifically on age gap relationships, I think a lot of these insights apply to relationships in general.
Totally. We've covered a lot of ground here, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to unpack when it comes to the complexities of human connection.
There always is, and that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating. We start with one piece of source material, and it leads us down these winding paths of discovery.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of a complex onion, revealing new insights and perspectives with each layer we remove.
And in doing so, we're not just gaining knowledge, we're engaging in a process of self-reflection, questioning our own beliefs, and expanding our capacity for empathy and understanding.
I love that. So as we head into the final part of our deep dive, what are some key takeaways you hope our listener will glean from our conversation today?
I hope they'll walk away with a more nuanced and compassionate understanding of relationships in general, recognizing that they are as diverse and complex as the individuals who form them.
And that judging a relationship solely on external factors ignores the richness of human connection that can exist beyond societal norms.
Exactly. It's about approaching relationships with an open mind, a compassionate heart, and a willingness to see beyond those superficial differences.
Okay, well said. I think that's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some broader reflections on love connection and the ever-evolving landscape of modern relationships.
Welcome back to the deep dive, you guys. We've been on quite a journey today talking about age gaps in relationships.
We really have, haven't we? We started with that article that someone sent in about how older men can attract younger women.
Right. And we talked about all those qualities that they highlighted, like maturity and communication and confidence and all that.
But then we flipped the script and looked at what might attract older men to younger women too.
Exactly. And we talked about societal perceptions and stereotypes and all the complexities that come with these kinds of relationships.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. But I'm curious, as we wrap up this deep dive, what are your final thoughts on this whole topic? Well, if there's one thing I hope our listeners take away from this conversation, it's that relationships are just so complex. You can't reduce them to simple formulas or stereotypes.
Right. It's not about age or any other external factor. It's about the connection between two people.
Exactly. It's about shared values, mutual respect, a genuine desire to support each other's growth and happiness.
And those are qualities that can be found in any relationship, regardless of age or background or anything else.
Absolutely. I think sometimes we get so caught up in those superficial differences that we forget what really matters.
It's like we're looking at the trees and missing the whole forest.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we're all just looking for connection. We want to feel seen and understood and loved.
And those connections can happen in the most unexpected places. Sometimes the best relationships are the ones that defy our expectations.
That's so true. I think it's important to keep an open mind and an open heart. When it comes to love, you never know where you might find it.
Well said. I think that's a beautiful message to end on.
I agree. So, to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep those conversations flowing.
And remember, if you have any fascinating source material that you'd like us to deep dive into, send it our way.
We're always up for a challenge.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.